Hi, it's Doug from Rise Above Performance Training. Today I'm going to go over a few get-up variations on how to progress the get-up. This is primarily for beginners to do it. It's not going to be directly like instructional video on how to do a get-up. It's just going to be breaking it down into components. If you need an instructional video, I have one on how called Fix Your Get-Up, so you can check that out. With newbies, what we're going to do is I like to break the get-up down into its own parts. The get-up is actually a few different exercises within a whole exercise, and what I mean by that, there's a sit-up portion, there's a bridge portion, there's a good lunge portion, and then you can put it all together, and each one in itself is actually a very good exercise to kind of perform and then master. And then a lot of them I do, even for my athletes that are proficient at it, we just break it down and say, okay, for this next few weeks we're going to practice just the first part of the get-up and really focus on it. And also you can use these progressions to increase your bell weight. You know, if you're mastering the 12 kilo and you want to go to 16, you might want to back down to the progressions. But the first progression is just the sit-up part, and I'll go over it briefly. So what we're going to do is we'll bring the bell up to us. Now it's very important that you lock your shoulder into place. Your foot's going to be down. Now, I don't tell people exactly how far to move it, just kind of where you feel comfortable. Just make sure everything's lined up. I like to have my toe turned out a little bit, just so my knee tracks well. Now, what we're looking for in the get-up is the sit-up portion. What I don't want to do is sit up and crunch. I'm going to actually go towards you guys, and as I bridge, I'm going to pull my arm in, kind of sawing motion. It's going to be a light sawing motion the whole time keeping the bell up. So I'm going to sit up here, and I get to the point where I just kind of click in. So I call it the umbrella effect. When you push the umbrella up and it kind of snaps into place, that's it. And then control down and pull up. Now, for a brand new beginner, you're going to want to do it without any weight. Sitting up and down. What newbies will tend to do is drop the arm. So we're going to keep the weight up and sit up. So you're going to practice like that. When you get really good, or you feel like you can move on for a newbie, before you do weight, try it keeping your shoe here. So what that's going to do is if I sit up and drop my arm, my shoe's going to drop. But if I keep it punched up, it's going to stay right there. And I know this isn't a lot of weight, but it keeps focus on the weight, and it keeps your arm straight up. The second phase of the get-up is one I really like. And the RKC kind of took it out, the full high bridge. But I think if you're doing it solo, you want to add the high bridge. So the high bridge is just parts 1 to 2, I call it. So part 1, you're going to get up on this hand, shoulder blades back, fingers are pointed straight back, and you're going to bridge. Now this bridge is that umbrella effect again. I locked everything out, my glutes tight here, and my hips are extended. That'll free up my right leg so I can do some sweeps. Now the RKC recently took that out and just kind of swept through here, but as a standalone exercise, it's not really stable. So I'll have people do the first part, and then I'll say, okay, we're going to do a couple sets of 1 to 2. So they'll go 1, up on their hand, big bridge, cheek down, and reverse. So that's another good step on the exercise. Now part 3, I just take it up, and we're going to do a lunge. This is probably one of the more challenging lunges. It's going to be a reverse lunge, a step back lunge, because when you get out of the get-up, you're going to be in that lunge position stepping forward. So we're going to bring the bell overhead. Now I am going to lunge my opposite leg, because that is a traditional get-up. So what I'll have the athletes do, lock the shoulder into place, step back very far, drop down. You want good control. You can light tap with the knee, and then step forward. And what I'm looking for here is shoulder stability and core stability. So what I'm not going to do, what I don't want to see is the arm moving around or the hip dropping, anything like that. We want to keep nice and stable. So this is a very controlled movement, tight, and come back up. So that will be stage 3. So if I'm going to program this, they can either do, okay, we're going to do portion 1, the sit-up. We're going to do 1 to 2, which is the bridge. Or today we're going to do some overhead lunges, practicing with the bell overhead. Now, if you don't have a kettlebell, you can use a dumbbell. There's nothing wrong with that. The kettlebell will sit a little nicer, but the dumbbell's just going to be a little off-center. But there's nothing wrong with using a dumbbell. So at home, you can use a dumbbell if you don't have that kettlebell. And the last thing is, if you have an athlete, maybe with a little bit of shoulder issue, or if you worked a lot of shoulder training, or if they're an athlete, like an overhead athlete, pitcher, something like that, you can use a sandbag. And I'll show you how to use a sandbag. What I'm going to do is, sorry about that, I grabbed my sandbag. What we're going to do is we're going to bring the sandbag to the shoulder. So that takes the arm extension out of it, and then it engages the core a little bit more because you got to keep it kind of tight. So the sandbag, you're going to bring to you and kind of hold it on your shoulder. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to sit up towards the opposite arm now. Kind of lock it down, up on my hand, and I'm going to sweep through. Stand up and drive up. So now my arm's not extended, it puts a little less vulnerability on that shoulder, but I'm still getting that full get up kind of motion. So that's great for beginners as well too. So if you're not getting the full get up with the bell or dumbbell overhead, try it with an object like a sandbag that you can keep close. Then when you start getting good, you can start adding the arm overhead.